Welcome to week 26 for Workout Wednesday for Power BI 2021. This week we are making a histogram. So this is what we're going to end up making. A histogram is like a column chart that shows frequency within a range of values, and we're still working with our Nobel Laureates data. This week we're looking at the age of laureates when they were given the award. This is not using any custom visuals, but if you'd like to be able to publish to powerbi.com, you may need a free developer account, so feel free to go and get that for yourself. And we're going to jump right in with our data. So similar to previous weeks, I'm going to web, putting in that URL, and here we go. I'm renaming my table to something a little friendlier. And we only need a few fields, so I just like to clean things up a bit. So I've got my base fields, but I need to go and expand one thing because I need the prize category. So the fields we needed are ID, birth date, death date, award year, prize category, and date awarded. So I'm going to find Nobel Prizes and expand to new rows, and I'm going to choose award year, date awarded, and category. And you can leave the prefix on or off according to your preference. So now I've got those two fields are expanded, and category needs one more expansion. So to double check, here's my ID. Here's the birth date, the death date, the award year, oh, I misspelled category, and the date awarded. And so we need to do a little cleanup. First, on the birth date, there are some values that show 00 for the month and year, and we need to fix that. So what I'm going to do is go back and change the birth date to text. And then I'm going to replace values and say anything that has -00 -00 is going to become 0101. So we just assume it's January 1st. And now we can turn that back into a date. There we go. Next, we need to fix our award year, or award date rather. So notice there are years for some of these where the actual date is unavailable. And I'm going to make this in a new column, but you could do this in an existing column or come back and delete the original columns later. To fix the award date, I'm first going to make sure that my year is a whole number. And then I'm going to add a custom column. And this is what I did. If the date awarded from the original data is null, then we're going to use January 1st of the award year. Otherwise, we'll just use the date awarded. Make sure that is a date. So that gives us a good award date column with more complete data. There's one more thing we need to do to make sure that no one was posthumously awarded a Nobel Prize after they died. I believe there is one in the data. So again, I'm just adding a custom column. And I'm going to call it age, date, range. And here's my formula. If the death date is not null, and the death date is less than the award date, so if they died before the award, then we're going to use the death date because that's essentially how old they were. They don't get to age anymore after the death, even though they got the award afterwards. So we'll use death date if it's less, otherwise we just use award date. And there we go. And then I chose to add an additional column after that. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click age. So I'm getting the difference between the end date range that I just established, either the award date or the death date, and our updated birth date column. Helps if you type the right field. That's going to show up as a number first. But I can fix that because it's a duration type. And then I just choose total years. And then I need to round down. So partial years don't count. If you're 58 or 53 in 3 months, then then I'm going to round down on this column. partial months don't count. If you are 53 in 3 months, you're still 53. I don't necessarily need to do this, but I'm going to add an index. This could also be accomplished with count rows. Again, I'm not worried about space size, so I just chose to do that. And then I'm just going to go back through and trim a few columns I don't need. Make sure my data types are all okay. That is indeed a date. That is a whole number. All right. So I made my summarization for the age set to average. Doesn't really matter. As I'm creating my bins. So I'm going to say this is age group and I want 8 bins. And so I can see my min value is 17, max is 97, bin size is 10, and that looks good. You could also do this in DAX on your own, that's fine. I just chose to use the built-in option. So now I can start building my histogram. So I'm going to do age group. And because I put that index on there, I can drag that. And the count of the index will be correct because it's just a row count. I need to make a couple of changes to make it look more like a histogram. First, I'm going to change it to a categorical axis and make sure it fixes the sort. And notice there's some blanks here. We'll fix that too. So I'm going to say age group is not blank. And we need to fix the format. It created it as a decimal number, but it's actually a whole number. There we go. And histograms usually have less space between the bars since it's kind of representing contiguous ranges. So I'm going to make my inner padding 5. And then I'm going to go back and change count of index to frequency. So that's what shows up on the left. And then I'm going to turn on a zoom slider just so people have the option there. Then I need data labels. And those are going to be auto, position, inside, end if we can help it. And we'll make this bigger so they'll eventually get a bit more room to exist. And I'm going to call this chart Laureates by age groups, 8 bins spanning 10 years each, so that people can better understand. And turn the background off. And that gives us our basic histogram. We've got quite a bit of room here, so I can spread it out a bit. And then I'm going to add, we're going to call this prize category. I'm going to add a slicer that is the prize category and make it horizontal. And if I move that down a bit, it gets to a better size. Then I'm going to add a smart narrative to complete the requirements. And I don't really care what it auto-generated. I'm going to say, after removing I like to make my own DAX measures. You can maybe use Q&A or the Q&A functionality in there to do that for you. But I'm going to say unknown age count equals calculate count index where is blank laureate's age. And then I want to do basically the opposite of that and do known age. So I'm going to say known age count. Oops, not is blank. So we'll add our unknown after removing the 29 laureates whose age is not known. There are 933 remaining laureates whose age at the time of the award is known. The youngest person winning a Nobel Prize was. This one I can do without creating a measure and just say min age was 17 and the oldest was 97. And that gives us our content. Then we just need some formatting. So I'm going to add I'm going to go with Calibri today. We're going to move that up towards the top. Make it bold. Make sure our background is off. And I tried to use colors that were related to the Nobel Prize website. They have a lot of kind of dark brown background with gold. So that's what I'm doing as well. And then of course we want to make things accessible, so we go in and we add some alt text. And we need to set our tab order. And that gives us our final product of the histogram with 8 bins. I hope you enjoyed this week's Power BI Workout Wednesday. This is Megan Longoria.